Hey guys, still there. I'm having a look at the Ash and Shadows mod. A few of you have asked me to look into this mod before, but before it was in an alpha mode and not many nations had been adjusted yet. US had quite a lot of very powerful units, same for Britain, but I found that RED4 just wasn't really balanced enough. Now it seems that the balancing has been continued, and right now I feel pretty confident actually trying out this mod. The thing is, a lot of these units have been changed, and not only in the way of how they operate, but there are also some entirely new units in the game, actually quite a few. Unfortunately, those units don't actually all have a model, so they're going to use the same type of graphics that you're going to be used to from the units that you already know. It does mean that you're going to constantly have to be checking what unit has what kind of stats, because sometimes maybe going, yeah, it's just like an SU, looks like an SU-85 or an SU-76. Whereas that SU-76 might be coming after you with 24 armor penetration capability. Anyway, brief introduction into the mod. Some seed aircraft have been rebalanced or have been adjusted. Seed aircraft, in the way that they are operating in the standard version of Wargame, are actually not, I suppose you could not call them seed, but dead aircraft. Seed stands for suppression, which means that the unit will still be there, but it's just going to be suppressed, it just cannot do anything. And that's using jamming equipment. Dead is actually destruction of enemy air defenses. Or I believe that's what the official US Armory acronym for it is. You're actually, in the base wargame, destroying anti-air units with, for example, the Raven, the SU-24 variants, the MiG-25 BM, if I remember correctly. Units like those actually destroy them. They fire a missile that's looking for a radar, fire the missile, and the radar gets destroyed along with the unit that's using the radar. In this mod, that's been adjusted, so that now we actually have units which do indeed suppress the radar instead of actually destroying it. Similarly, if a radar from the Ash and Shadows mod is lighting up your aircraft, so the aircraft being detected, that means that the aircraft is only detected, it might not even be in range. But being detected for a sustained period of time will mean that your unit is going to lose morale. It's going to start getting panicked, it's going to start to operate less efficiently, and of course, the sooner it gets detected, the more likely you are to get a response. Now, other than that, what you need to know about the mod is that it's been upgraded to pretty much 2015, but as the mod author has written, not our 2015, but the 2015 that follows on what was more or less World War III from 1984 to 1990. In the previous two games, we saw the Soviets invade Europe, Scandinavia, then Japan, China and Russia turn on each other, the Second Korean War, and a bunch of smaller conflicts. So basically, if I'm understanding this correctly, the type of battles or the type of units that we're looking at right now are from 2015, but a sort of alternate reality, where the Second Korean War has actually happened, and where all the conflicts from, let's say, our Ireland battle and European escalation have actually happened. So that means that a lot of the units, let's say the prototypes that have remained prototypes because they got defunded, were actually developed. So we're going to see quite a few units that you may know from, let's say, paper units, but which have otherwise not been developed, which are now suddenly full-fledged in the game, which I think would make for a very interesting game. Anyway, so much for the introduction. Don't be afraid of what you're going to see here, but the way that I was looking at it, I was going, what the fuck? Quite a lot. So there is going to be a lot of surprises in this mod. Now, as far as logistics goes, let's go over it. Let's say BLUEFOR first and then RED4. I'm not going to light up every unit because according to the Armory, there's 1629 units. I don't know how much time you have, but I would like this video to be, let's say, 30, maybe 40 minutes. Not 1.5 days. Apart from the time duration, I really doubt that my voice would hold up that long. Anyway, these units have been mostly left alone. Some of them do have a different transport though. Now, as I mentioned, this thing looks like your regular helicopter. It looks like a Bell 212 or a Huey. I'm not exactly sure which variant it is, but it's actually the NH-90, which is a helicopter that was introduced according to the game in 2005. It's not your slow helicopter at 220. This thing's moving at 300 kph and has medium optics. So this is the first unit that you can actually designate like, okay, actually this is a new one. How would you like a Command Challenger Mark III? I don't believe that these were in the game. I think we had Command Centurions, maybe? Command Chieftains, but not Command Challengers. Let's see if we can quickly find something else. We got the FV Mark III Bulldog. It looks like your standard FV 432. But this thing is quite heavily armored. 6 frontal armor. Makes for a lot safer transport for your command infantry. I believe that these guys might have been in the game, but they had a different name. The Commando Plus. Command Abrams Tusk. As mentioned, you're going to be seeing units which have, let's say, their stats revamped, but the same unit model. Because I believe that this is the unit model for the standard M1 Abrams, maybe the M1 IP. But look at the stats. This thing has 2450 meter ground range, 65% accuracy, 18 armor penetration and 21 frontal armor. This is one pretty risky command tank. This thing can kill. As far as the others go, we got a Leopard here with 15 frontal armor, a Command Leopard. Command Leopard 2, 15 frontal armor. So this is probably Command Leopard 2. Don't be mistaken that it looks like a Leopard 1A... 1A5? 1A6? No, probably 1A5 something. It's got exactly the same amount of armor as the Command Leopard 2, 15 frontal. Its accuracy is even better, and its armor penetration is the same. So stuff like that, don't be mistaken. Be sure to check before the unit actually kills off what might be one of your units. Now, as I'm looking through this, we got a Command STRV 103. I think that was in the game already. As far as these things go, Chinooks still carry the same amount of supplies. Not much has changed there. 2500. Of course, you do have some smaller Chinooks for the Brits, which have 1500 points. Then we get a list of all the FOBs. Yeah, not too interesting there. As far as infantry goes, the British have had some units adjusted. When I saw these guys, I was like, oh my god, what happened to your range? It does make sense, because a law, I don't think is going to be accurate at 500 meter range, let alone 700. So the mod dev, let's call him a mod dev, adjusted the range for the M72A4 law to 350 meters. Now in Wargame that means you pretty much have to be right on top of the enemy unit before you can actually shoot it. And I suppose that the Anglian regiment, considering they're only 10 points, could be roughly compared to, let's say, militia or militia-like units. I hope I didn't just offend the entire Anglian regiment with that, but according to the stats in this mod, they are not that great. One unit that caught my eye here, by the way, is a Warrior FV510 CTA40. Different gun on this one. The base Warrior has less accuracy, less armor penetration. This one, better rate of fire, better stabilizer, better armor penetration. Bigger gun. Look at that, 2100 meters. That's the same range that normally tanks would engage at. We got Anzacs, same 350 meter range. A GGM Milan F3ER, 2800 meter range. I believe there was no infantry in the game that had ATGMs at a range of 2800, so that's new. We got the ATGM's MMP, Missile Moyen Portée, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Quite a decent unit by the looks of it. 2600 meter range. We got Blackwatch from Canada. I'm not sure, but Blackwatch to me sounds a bit like a private military company or something of the likes. 8 Sackclaws missiles, Eric's type. I believe this is your standard Eric's type missile. Canadian rifles, looking pretty the same. Aside from that, we got Chumats, Commander Marines, CRFs. Don't think I've seen these guys in the game, but they are apparently elite. They are 10-man squads, which have an MP5 SD, a machine gun that looks to be pretty damn good at dealing with close-quarter battles, and the M72E9 Law with decent accuracy. Armor penetration is okay, but I wouldn't exactly put it up against a tank. Delta Force has been adjusted. They now carry the Scar H, the M60E6, I believe that was an M60 different variant, and the Javelin. Look at that armor penetration, 22. Now, not only that, but look at the transport. You may think that this is a Black Hawk, but look at the stats of this Black Hawk. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen a Black Hawk that has good stealth. So this is probably going to be a sort of, let's say a silent or stealthy Black Hawk. Which could be very interesting, because it means you can drop off these Delta Force in positions where you might not expect them. Aside from that, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. We got the Gebirgsjäger. These look like... what are these? They're classed as anti-tank teams, which is completely wrong because they carry a Stinger. Stinger, by the way, with a range of 3.1 kilometer against helicopters. They also carry that assault rifle that the Fallschirmjäger carry, the G11. And they're a 15-man shock train squad. So this seems to be... I don't know how to describe it really. Let's say a very high power anti-air troop for 25 points, which can also be really effective at dealing with infantry. Grenadier Guards with the Matador. Now, I'm not fully current on all the modern technology. So, some of these units like the Matador, I'm going, yeah, well, okay, what's the Matador? I don't know that unit, or that weapon, personally. We got the Hauraki Regiment here, which is carried by the MRH-90 Taipan. Medium stealth on this helicopter. Decent infantry unit by the looks of it. Let's see if I can find anything else. Yep, Javelin, HGM. So the Javelin's actually in the game now, not as your standard anti-air unit. Not the Javelin GL, but the Javelin 148. I believe this was carried by the light rifleman, but its stats have been significantly revamped and improved. Talking about units that have been adjusted, I'm looking at the M2A3 ECP-1 Bradley, 5 frontal armor, but how does 26 armor penetration sound to you on an ATGM like a TOW 2A? That's a lot of firepower. Other than that, Kongensgarde, KSK, stuff like this, it does not ring a bell to me. If you know what these kind of units are, let me know. We got the Legionnaires and Legion Pioneers, which have the Apilas system. I believe this was already in the game, but I think it was carried by the Remus. I think it was the Remus who carried this thing. And yeah, the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. But there's so much stuff in this mod that it's very hard for me to cover all of it right now. Let's see if anything else springs to mind. Royal Marines with an LAW 80, 350 meter range, decent weapon. The SAS has gotten their Law 80, so they have also been made quite a bit more effective. I'm not sure what a KW1 Scorpion is, but I like the grenade launcher. Alright, you know what? I'm going to move on to supports. See if any new units spring to mind here. An Amos Strix. Looks like the Amos had its range buffed. I'm not sure what the base range is, but I think 7700. And this one suddenly has a range of 8400. You know that Scorpion AA unit? That has been adjusted. That's now the AMRAD. Again, not sure what it stands for, but it carries a dual Otto Malaria 76mm gun, which I believe, or actually not a double, a single one, which I believe is the same thing that the automatic uses. The Archer is in the game. Now, it looks like the Caesar, but it also has something else. Let's see, this has the main weapon, firing 7 HE, but it seems to also have the capacity to fire the Excalibur. I'm thinking that this is a sort of missile fired by the archer. Look at the range, 3,850 meters, 91 meter dispersion and 13 armor penetration. That means that this thing can pretty much outright kill one unit of any kind of variety, so long as it's not infantry, with one missile. It only carries 3. The Danish have gotten their own Caesar. We got something called the Chem L here. This thing is probably going to be addressed as Camel before long. The Camel has guided anti-air units. Look at that. Not radar guided. 4,700 meter range. That's coming close to the Patriot. AS-90 looks pretty standard. Hades SRBM. This unit, when I was going through the armory earlier, I was like, what the f is this? 75,000 meter range, that's 75 clicks. Almost no dispersion. 22 HE. So I went to Google this thing. The Hades SRBM was a short-range ballistic missile that was in use with the French army until 1996, I believe. So this thing is quite potent, let's put it like that. This thing fires a 3,000 kilogram warhead, which is the same type of bomb that is dropped by the B5. K9 Aussie Thunder. So the K9 has also been shipped to Anzac. Closed Arrow, the Mars. Mars looks the same. M108 Mortar Storm. Looks like the M108 got its barrel even shortened and is now turned into a mortar. M196 Paladin. The ADATS has been left alone except for the range. I don't think it was 3,800 meters to aircraft. 2 variants of the ATACMS. South Korea also gets it in this mod. M6 Linebacker. A medium armor Bradley specifically geared towards anti-air warfare. This could be a very interesting anti-air unit, carrying 12 Stinger Block 2s. Look at the range on those. 3,300 meters. NASAMS 2, good range on those. Oh, here's the Patriot. We now have it for Japan, Germany, United States. United States also gets the PAC-3. Now, look at this missile. The missile itself has a range of 7.8 kilometers. The acquisition radar has a range of 9.1, but this thing actually doesn't do anything. What it does do is damage the morale of an enemy aircraft. So the longer an enemy aircraft is going to be inside the range of the acquisition radar of the Patriot, the more damage it's going to take over time. Now it looks like the PAC-3 is actually a shorter range missile, but it carries 16 of these instead of the usual 8. Let's see, here's the Hawk, same thing. 9.1 kilometer acquisition radar. Tanks, Challenger 2. Challenger 2 Life Extension Project, or Lethality Extension Project, I believe. As if the Challenger 2 wasn't heavily armored enough, this thing now has 25 frontal armor. Then you have the Challenger Clip. I'm not sure what that abbreviation stands for, but it carries a 24 armor penetrator weapon. Costs 210 points. The CV-90 is apparently designated as a tank right now, carrying the pattern of an M8, I believe. K1A2, South Korean main battle tank. South Korean main battle tank K2 PIP K STAM. Again, not sure what it stands for, but the stats on this thing are phenomenal. 75% base accuracy. That means that the actual accuracy of this thing is going to be even more insane. We got the Leclerc 1. This, I believe, is what used to be the base Leclerc. Leclerc Series 2 and Leclerc Series 21. 22 armor penetrator. Considering that It's 40 points cheaper than the Challenger 2. I think it's looking pretty balanced. Leopard 1A6. Look at all these Challengers. Oh, sorry, the Leopards. 2A1, 2A4, 2A5. This was the best tank that was in the game, or at least for the Germans. Now they have the 2A6, 24 armor penetration, 2A7, and the Leopard 2 140, which is, I believe, a Leopard 2A6 variant, which carries a higher penetration gun. Look at that, 26 armor penetration. Otherwise, at maximum range, these tanks could not go through the frontal armor of a Challenger. Leopard 2A4 has been introduced into the Danish army. We got the Leopard 2A5 for the Danish. This is, sorry Norway, for the Norwegians. The Danish also have their Leopard 2A5 and even a 2A6 for the Canadians. Spread the Leopards around. M1A2 SEP. Surface extension program? Not too sure about that. I'll have to look that up. Let's see, M1A1 FEP. If I didn't know better, I thought they were making these things up. M60 2000, adjusted to be still pretty competitive in the 2000s. STRV 122, and the Vickers Mark 7. Which is, I gotta say, a very useful addition to Canada, because it now makes them at least slightly competitive as far as tanks are concerned. Recce, longbow has been adjusted slightly, now has missiles at a range of 3.1 clicks. We got another massive improvement in helicopters, I believe. Because I saw one for the Brits. Where is it? See, this one hasn't been adjusted that much. Kaya Warrior looks good. Ninja. Improvement to range, I believe. Look at that. RA6 or RAH-66 Comanche. This used to be one of my favorite helicopters until it got cancelled. Look at that. Very good stealth, exceptional optics, small size, and it has even 30% ECM. This is going to be an absolute nightmare to kill, especially with its speed and its AA as well as AT capability. Fortunately, it doesn't carry too many of either. Now, where is that bloody helicopter? Here it is, WAH-64 MLR. So the Brits finally get their own recon Apache, carrying rocket pods for armor penetrators and rocket pods for, again, armor penetration, as well as HE. They're not very accurate either, but I gotta say 60% armor penetration on a rocket pod, or 60% accuracy on a rocket pod is not bad. Vehicles, let's see, these look pretty similar. Chimera looks like it's still going strong. Vickers Mark 11, by the looks of it, hasn't been adjusted. FV 430 Mark III Bulldog, I went over that one. More frontal armor, good for your troops' health, or at least until they get to the battlefield. Hachiki Ushiki, very nice unit there. K200, seems to be like a regular transport. I mentioned the Scorpion. There are just so many vehicles in this game. NZ LAV-25. Looks like a standard LAV-25 to me, but just for New Zealand. Or Anzac. Humvees, Marder 2s. Oh, the Marder 2's been nerfed. 8 frontal armor. I thought there was more. I thought it had 10. Still, 70% accuracy, 6 armor penetration, not bad. I'll sign up for those any day. I'm not sure what the namer is, but looks like it is going to be definitely taking names. Considering that, and don't let the look of the unit discourage you. You're looking at a unit that has a grenade launcher and 19 frontal armor. 19? This thing is more heavily armored than some tanks. No wonder it's 45 points. Aside from that, is there anything else that is going to catch my eye here? Puma fire support vehicle. This might take the place of the Marder, by the looks of it. 10 frontal armor, very nice gun on it, the Bushmaster 2. Yeah, looks like that's all of it. Helicopters. Yeah, we got a new line of helicopters. We got the AH-1Z Viper. 4.3 kilometer range against enemy aircraft, as well as some pretty accurate rocket pods with 4 armor penetration and 3 HE. This thing is going to be pretty damn effective. I can guarantee you that. Poor stealth, good optics. We're talking good optics on a helicopter. These things usually need their own optics. Not anymore. Aside from that, 350 kph. US has an Apache, Japan has an Apache, South Korea has an Apache. 2 variants of the Little Bird, one with grenade launchers and one with a minigun and rocket pods. That wasn't in the game, definitely. Well, the transport Chinooks are now going to show up. We got the DAP, NH-90, went over that one. Puma Pirate, Seahawk, slightly adjusted. We got the Tiger ARH for the Anzac. The Anzac got a lot of nice new stuff, look at that. The Hellfire Romeo, 3.1 kilometer range, 26 armor penetration. The Taipan, that was the new helicopter. Now, the air tab is where it's going to get interesting, because some of these units have gotten their ranges improved massively. Let's start at the beginning. We got the Thunderbolt 2 and the Thunderbolt 2 A10C. The A10A is from 1978. This is the one that we know. This is the improved version. Look at the difference. 70% accuracy on the missile. Very good air detection, 40% ECM. You can actually pretty reliably send this thing in now as a tank killer. Aside from that, I'm looking for a fighter. An air superiority fighter. Oh, let's see. The Prowler is now a combination. It's going to first try and stun or damage the morale of the AA unit that it's looking at using the electronic warfare module. And then it's going to fire a high, what was it again? Harm. Anti-radiation missile. Heavy, maybe? I gotta look that up. At 8 kilometers. So this thing could be really effective. Raven has only 3 pods of radiation, let's say, distortion. So this thing is now going to be very, very annoying if it gets in the arena. It doesn't actually kill anything, it doesn't actually damage anything, but it kills the morale of your AA units, which makes them a lot less effective. And if this thing is around when you have, for example, a bombing run coming in, your AA is going to be scrappy. Now this is one of the units I wanted to highlight. Eurofighter Typhoon. For Germany, by the way. For Germany. Carrying the AIM-7M P2. At a range of 12.5 kilometers. That's pretty awesome. 85% accuracy on the short range, 4,200 meters. Iris T looks like a short range air-to-air missile. Eurofighter Typhoon, 17 kilometer range on the Meteor, 6.3 kilometer range on the SRAM. This used to be pretty much the maximum range. I think you could go up to 7,700 and then 11,000 for a MiG. This is incredible. Let's see what the others. The Eagle still has the same loadout. We've got the Silent Eagle, which has good stealth, which is nice to have on an aircraft. 10.5 kilometer range, 65% accuracy, fire and forget missiles, so get in and get out and don't even look over your shoulder to see if the missile's still there. Other units. Yeah, sorry, I'm not going to try to pronounce that. But this thing seems to be a, I don't know, it's classed as a seed aircraft. It has the harm, it has decent ECM, but it also carries short-range air-to-air missiles. So I think I'm going to class it as a multi-role. F-16 Kiwi, again carrying long-range missiles and a couple of bombs on them. F-18 Growler, electronic warfare jet from the Anzac, as well as having anti-radiation missiles. Let's see what the Eagle has been done to. Not too much. Eagle looks okay. F2AU. Looks like an F-16. Probably doesn't behave that way. Probably behaves a bit different. Peace Rhine. 26 points of arm penetration. Looks okay. Hornet. Looks good. Super Hornet has 85% accuracy on the missile. Bloody hell, if you see one of these things come in, you're going to want to have your AA acquisition radar light that thing up like a Christmas tree, or it's going to insta-shot your main battle tank at a 4.5 kilometer range. Wow, okay. The Harrier GR9, I believe the GR7 was the highest type we had in the game, but now we have the GR9, which has 55% ECM and carries the Brimstone 2. Long range missile. 6.6 kilometers. That's outranging some of the AA. Very accurate. And 26 armor penetration. Great weapon system, this one. As well as carrying 6.3 kilometer range AA missiles. And by the way, looking at the time, I'm not going to be getting around to looking at Red Force, so I'm going to be doing that in a separate video. This is the Nighthawk, or whatever's left of it, because it's now a drone. It's the MQ-45C Phantom Ray. Exceptional stealth like it had. I think the paveways have gotten a bit of a buff to their range though, at 4,900 meters. Germany apparently decided to go shopping elsewhere, and they also bought the MiG-29G. Rafale F3R, look at that, medium stealth, long range missiles, same on the Meteor. And I think that pretty much covers it. Oh, we got the Tornado Hope. Bloody hell. This is a Tornado Hope glide bomb. That thing has a range of 13 kilometers. So, judging by the size of some maps, let's say you'd call this thing in Wonsan Harbor. It flies over your spawn and it can hit the other spawn from your side of the map without even being at risk. Or at least I don't see how this thing is going to get taken down, because the weapon that it drops is a glide bomb. It's not even radar guided. You don't have to be a semi-active aircraft. You can just drop it and get out. These things might be overpowered, but I'm going to have to run some tests and see if they actually are. Tornado IDS looks solid. As far as the Navy goes, I saw a few units that I didn't recognize before. See if I can quickly find those. Quite a few units, as you can see. There's the AMOS again, the Strix. Quite incredible that the AMX still have the AMX 13 in service. Oh, by the way, the AMX 30B Furtif, French tank, 1999, so pretty modern. Where is that unit? Where was that unit? Bake Ho? Don't think we had these in the game. Interesting, by the way. Look at this. They have a short range submachine gun, a sniper rifle, and a machine gun. They're a 15-man squad trained at elite. So that sniper is going to be guaranteed to hit every single shot. Every single shot will hit. Blackwatch and the Navi Star, whatever that is. Caesar DK, Camel. Looks like the ships haven't really been adjusted that much. Oh, by the way, a note about the ships. The ships use a radar. That means that the ships can actually be jammed by the missiles or by the seed aircraft. If, for example, a Raven's going to keep flying over your Udaloy, it's going to get panicked. Which, for your Udaloy, is not a good thing. We got a Gripen EC. I don't see anyone using this one, though. It's a pretty terrible aircraft with bad missiles for the job. There's the Hades again, so you can call in another Hades. Because one of those monsters wasn't enough. Let's see, where was the unit that I didn't recognize? Japanese Self-Defense Force 1st Airborne. Gotta say, another very interesting combination of weapons. 10-man squad, shock trained, very good stealth, sniper rifle, AA missile, machine gun, or battle rifle. this thing is a very all-round unit. Very nice to see that. And I don't think we had any kind of unit like this in the game. You had either a sniper rifle, sort of sniper team, or an AA missile, like, let's say the LSTRs or the SAS. I don't think there was something like this in the game yet. Oh, Stinger 2, by the way, as well as Stinger F. Stinger 1, or this is Stinger, let's say Stinger 1. This is Stinger 2. 3,300 meter range, 70% accuracy. Lars 2, not that interesting. Oh yeah, I'm gonna highlight that unit. The Striker is in the game. Don't be mistaken, it may look a little silly. This is not the one I'm talking about, by the way. This is the transport. This is what I'm talking about. Of course, it doesn't look anything like the Striker, but this is a 40-point unit that has 17 armor penetration. No armor, but is pretty damn fast. So this is a sort of alternative to... God, what's that unit from the Anzac? The Vickers Mark 11. This is pretty much the US variant of it. Anyway, I'll get around to that ship later. First, or last thing I wanted to check, the range in the Congo. Congo does not have any great missile range increases. Maybe he didn't get around to this yet, but I think that the Congo would need a bit more range against airplanes. 4,900 meters is great, of course, but considering that the AA missiles have gotten so much better, the Congo, which is basically an early Burke, can fire at a way better range than 4,900 meters. Anyway, that's the first part of the Armory review of this mod, Ash and Shadows. I'm going to be doing a second part on it to discuss all the Red 4 units, or at least the most interesting ones, because the video is already going at 36, 37 minutes, and it's just going to take too long, and I don't want to bore you that long. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. If you want to try this mod out for yourself, I recommend taking a copy of your Wargame Red Dragon deck, or your Wargame Red Dragon folder, and just copying it over, putting the mod in their separate folder. Be warned though. Be warned. This thing messed up all of my decks. Because some of the units have been adjusted, some of the units don't exist anymore. So if you have any of your decks that are your absolute favorite decks, before you install this mod, make sure you export the deck code to a text file, an email, or something else. So that once you have your actual main game that you used to play, let's say multiplayer, then you can just re-import that deck and have it in the correct composition. Because I myself have to go over all of my decks, see what units have been taken out, and how I need to adjust them accordingly. So that's going to be a bit of a headache, but comes with the job, I suppose. Anyway, link to the mod in the description down below. Let me know what you think. I gotta say, last thing, big shout out to the person who created this mod, and probably the team that created this. Because balancing 1,600 units, that's no easy feat. So guys, well done. Looking forward to trying this thing out in an actual battle. And maybe it could be something that I'm going to be playing with subscribers every now and then. Let me know what you think. Looking forward to seeing your thoughts in the comments, and otherwise I'll see you in the next video.